Hello Huntsville, I'm Cynthia Joyner with the Cynthia Joyner Real Estate Group, and today we will continue exploring Huntsville's rich music scene. We're thrilled to welcome special guests Nina Marie and Emily Joseph to the podcast. Come join us for captivating stories and a deep dive into the heart and soul of our local music scene. Today I'm joined with Nina Marie. She's a hot local R&B artist that I personally have had the opportunity to follow on the local scene in Huntsville. Nina, tell me, how did you get that name?
Actually, my birth name is Rhonda, middle name is Marie, but my friends always told me I look more like a Nina than a Rhonda, so I went with it. I love it. It's very catchy and memorable.
Okay. Your name kind of reminds me a little bit of Tina Marie. Have you heard of Tina Marie?
They call me that all the time too. But yeah, it has a ring to it, so it works.
I'm joined today with Miss Emily Joseph. She's a hot local musician. I first heard her at the camp and I thought, wow, she is phenomenal. Her music sounds just great. So I got a few questions for you, Emily.
Okay.
When was it that you discovered your first love for music?
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I was so small. Started out singing in church when I was young. I grew up with 3 sisters and a brother, but who all sang, and they were all older. I was the baby out of 5. So just singing around, church and harmonizing with them. So I remember being 5 years old and standing on top of our station wagon in the backyard, and that was my stage, and I was performing. So basically, since I can remember, I've always loved music. Professionally, I got to get started when I was 13, and I started out with a little local, I'm from originally Fairhope, Alabama, so I grew up there and started with a local band there that was a group of jazz musicians. So Mobile and all that, was New Orleans. That was really, the trendy thing to do. So that's kind of how I got started.
When did you discover your passion for music?
Oh gosh. Actually, I was 4 years old. 4 years old, I used to sing secretly in my room. My parents come in one day and they were like, oh my God, honey, can you hear her? She can actually sing. I was in front of the TV singing Missing You by Diana Ross. 4 years old, and my parents were, they decided to ask me, do you really want to sing in front of people? Because they were shocked that I even knew how to sing. I said, yes, ma'am, I do. Just a baby. But my parents both supported me. They started to, train me and teach me how to perform. And before you know it, by the age of 7, I was performing professionally all over Washington State. It was really cool.
So what was it like growing up in Fairhope, Alabama?
It was on the water. It was a beautiful place to be, just real vibrant. That's where everybody goes for vacation, to the ocean or to the bay. And so it was really neat to grow up there, and a lot of artsy, things. My mother was a painter, and then there were people all over that were moving there for, art. So music and art was a big part of my life growing up.
So you're not a Huntsvillian?
I've been here for about 12 years, so some would say I'm a Huntsvillian now. I accept it. It's home.
So what part of Washington did you move from?
Tacoma, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that transition like, moving from Tacoma, Washington to Huntsville?
Well, I had a couple of friends that told me that they really loved it here. They grew up here. And when I came to visit, I fell in love overnight. I really did. They took me around, showed me the town, and it just had a homey, safe feeling. And I knew in that moment that, if I ever have children one day, or if I really want to, buy a new home, this is the place I want to be. And that's what happened. I made the decision overnight to move. Within a week, I was living here.
How would you compare living in Huntsville to the other places that you've lived?
Well, I've seen more growth here than any other place in a short period of time, that's for sure. I feel like it's a lot safer. I'm a single mother, so raising 2 children in this environment is definitely good. Another reason I want to stay forever. The weather is fantastic. It's very different from the places that I've been, so I'm satisfied here.
Okay. And you've been performing, well, professionally, how long would you say you've been performing?
Oh my goodness. I'm 43 now, so starting at 17, you do the math. At 7, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. Well, you have an amazing voice and sound. What artist would you compare your sound to?
A lot of people say that I have similarities to Jill Scott because I have a strong, full, soulful voice. I've heard a lot of different people. They love my urban soul sound though. So I'd say Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. Sometimes I feel like Shaka Khan. So I guess, that's what it is.
As far as your sound, who would you compare yourself to?
Yeah. Who would I compare myself to? I do so many different artists, and I try to change my voice on them. That's a hard answer for me. Like I said, I mentioned Shaka Khan earlier. She's one of my favorites. I definitely not trying to compare myself to her, but I love singing her stuff. I do everything from Whitney Houston to Aretha Franklin to Shaka Khan to Bruno Mars to Earth, Wind and Fire. So I don't even know if I can really say I compare,
Okay.
but I love the old school R&B music for sure.
Okay. I personally think you have a little Tina Marie sound.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I would say I would get compared to Tina Marie, absolutely.
All right.
That wouldn't be the first time I heard that either. So.
Who's your favorite musician or artist?
Oh man, in Huntsville or just all around?
All around.
Oh gosh, we could go on about this for days, but I'm just gonna stick to Rochelle Farrell, Jill Scott, and my favorite local artist is actually an incredible vocalist by the name of Charles Harris III. Now, a lot of people may say that he's an R&B vocalist, but this guy can really do anything. He is super diverse and he's super down to earth and focused, and man, his voice, he can just really blow. So Charles Harris III, you guys, go find this guy. He's booked and busy everywhere, and it's worth the shot. You're gonna go to his show, you're gonna get goosebumps, you're gonna feel every single word of his music, and you're not gonna wanna leave.
So is he performing locally?
Yes.
There are some spots that you can think of where I can catch a show.
Oh gosh, I mean, Charles performs everywhere that's hiring really, because they always call him. He's doing restaurants, he's doing local nightclubs, R&B nightclubs, such as the Hideaway, the Camp. The Camp is one of Huntsville's greatest concepts right now, the outdoor stage. He just did that recently. It's just a lot of places. The thing is, he did tell me that as a cover artist himself, just like me, that we should always have, which was great advice, that we should always have a whole book of songs that we actually know, so that we can cater to the client's needs, no matter what style of music they're looking for, no matter what event they're looking for. So, he's doing private parties of every kind, singing R&B, soul, pop, rock. He's just doing it all, and I really think that was great advice. I'm taking that advice, Charles. Thanks.
Who's your favorite Huntsville musician, past and present?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. You surprised me with that one. I'm trying to think. Well, I already know the past, so I'll start with that one.
Okay.
So I had the pleasure of performing for about 18 years with Rudy Maccabee, who has since passed away. But he was a local legend here in Huntsville for many years, sang with the Drifters in 68, 69. So he's definitely my favorite. There are recordings of him for people to be able to look up, and probably where I crafted a lot of my nuances and things of how I approach songs was from him, for sure. Let's see. There's so many talented new musicians here. Jeremy Malone is a guitar player he's amazing when he plays guitar. Just it speaks to you. Also, Nina Marie, wonderful singer. Danny Kanes is a wonderful singer, and both sing from the heart. I'm trying to think. I love all my guys in my band. Curtis Jordan's amazing keyboard player. So it's hard to pick out just one favorite because I love all aspects of music. So,
tell me a little bit about your band.
Well, we are typically doing R&B, soul, and jazz. That's my favorites, but we can do pretty much anything as well. I've got some of the best bass players. I actually have been rotating within some of the crew members in the band because they're booked and busy as well. They're really great. So sometimes I'll call and I'll ask my drummer, hey, are you available on the 24th? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, sis, I got a private party that day. And I'm thinking, of course, because you're amazing. So I got to call another guy. But Nina Marie Live is always jumping and always live because I'm always going to pick the best.
So what is it like as far as your band and your group? What is it like? Who are these people that's like performing with you on stage?
I've been very lucky. A lot of the people that are performing with me have been doing so for a long time. I have Anthony Cooper on bass, who's originally from Gary, Indiana. It's been here for many years, and he's played with another band local that was very popular, PlayStation. I think they were pretty popular about 20 years ago. He's been playing with me for about 8 years. I have a saxophone player out of Birmingham. His name's Jeff Lopez. He's been playing with me for over 20 years. I've just had Curtis Jordan, who's a local keyboard player. He plays with a lot of bands, and he's been playing with me for about 8 years as well. So I've just been really lucky to have people that have become family too. But they all play in church. They all, have come back from a musical background as well.
Okay. And do you play all over North Alabama?
I do. Oh. Yeah, I play Gunnersville and Boaz, and here in Tennessee we play all the way down to Montgomery, Alabama.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so we travel as well and go wherever I'm needed, I guess.
Okay. Wow. How has the local music scene evolved in Huntsville over the years since you've located here?
Quite a bit. When I came about 12 years ago, I was searching for a place where I could actually perform live. I thought maybe I'd made the wrong decision by moving here because there wasn't a lot for the style of music that I was doing at that time for live venues. I was doing R&B, soul, and gospel. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, where am I gonna go? I'd end up at karaoke or something. And, fast forward a few years later, our Huntsville city leaders have actually realized that music is our universal language. And it's an amazing way for economic growth and things of that nature.
I would say it's definitely grown, for sure. The venues are starting to open up. I would say it's harder. It's harder for, I have a 6-piece band, so I would say it's harder for myself and having that many to find a few places big enough. But I definitely feel like the local scene, as far as going into restaurants or just being in the outdoor venues, they always have music. So I feel like all the acoustic acts and those type of things have really have the advantage other than the bigger bands. But I can feel it starting to grow this year as well with the phone calls I've gotten and the response.
So what's your assessment of the live music scene in Huntsville nightclubs?
Well, it is actually amazing if you are part of the audience. It can be amazing if you are one of the performers. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is a lot of the Huntsville nightclubs are still paying the bands the same amount of money they've been paying since 2012. So that's got to change. Our artists are really putting in a lot of hard work, and the economy's changing, the economy's growing, prices are going up, so those prices should go up as well. But as an audience member, you can pretty much go every single night of the week somewhere to see something live, music-wise, in Huntsville, and that is amazing. It was not like that before. You may get lucky a couple of nights a month here or there, and now every time I open up my Facebook events or any Instagram events or, looking up anything online, there is something going on in Huntsville. So, 7 days a week, honey, you can't get better than that.
It's so funny, I had this conversation, we played Friday night and I had this conversation with a patron, and she was talking about, I really try to do a mixture where I mix the audience, and I've been lucky to be able to do that and play a wide variety where everyone feels welcome and they hear something that they're going to enjoy and reminisce. So I would say that I think part of me wants maybe a couple more of those. I think everything has its place. Americana is wonderful. Country music's wonderful. Everything's great, but I think Huntsville needs a little more melting pot, so to speak, venues. But other than that, I do think it's growing, and I think we're getting there.
You mentioned church earlier. What's your assessment of the live music scene in Huntsville churches?
Oh, incredible. Yeah, there are quite a few churches. I actually attend Bright Star Church. Hi, Bright Star. And, there are a lot of our band musicians that we work with through all different types of genres of music. They actually play in churches every single week as well. So that has kept them busy, for sure. Some churches, I don't think they really like the idea sometimes of their band members doing worldly music. But personally, I just really feel like no matter what we do, if we're praising God through it all and we're living a positive life, that shouldn't be a problem whatsoever.
Okay. What's your assessment of the live music scene in the Huntsville churches?
I don't know if I can answer that question because I haven't. As far as like musicians, I know that it's amazing, but I just haven't personally been going to be able to have a testimony to that lately. So.
What's your assessment of live music scenes in Huntsville, such as concerts in the park, jazz in the park, jazz in the garden, and the Old School Festival?
Well, I'm glad you named a couple of those. I actually performed at Jazz in the Garden and Jazz in the Park, and wow, so great. These concerts are attracting thousands of people, and thank you to you too for sponsoring these events. You're an incredible woman. Much respect. These concerts are happening every single year now, which is a big difference from when I got here. It's bringing in talent and bringing in tourists from all over, which is actually pretty great, like the amphitheater and Mars Music and places like that. With these new developments, bringing in these new tourists and having music, it's bringing our economy up, for sure. I am excited about the amphitheater too, because I'm going to be doing Women in Music next month in September 24th at the amphitheater. Go Orion! I love it.
That sounds like a very interesting event. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, Women in Music is bringing together some of Huntsville's top female musicians. It is great to put the highlight on us ladies from time to time, Yeah. Men are out there doing a great job. We also are, and there's some amazing female bands out here, female vocalists. Now, these women that are coming together at the Orion for the 24th of September, it's going to be very diverse. We're doing everything from R&B to bluegrass to country and rock, pop. It's going to be a great, great time. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I think they've been really good as far as the acts they've been bringing in. I think it's been very diversified, which is important. I went to Huntsville in the park, concerts in the park, a couple of Mondays ago, and it was really great to see. I think I got to see the Soul Lit band. They're amazing, up and coming. Just enjoyed that, and I love the Jazz in the Parks as well, because, you know, that's something I think too, is the jazz scene here needs to grow a little more. I'm having Sunday jazz brunches and those types of things. I think we need to open that up as well.
What has been your favorite Huntsville concert?
I think I missed one last night. They said Snoop Dogg was the best concert ever. But let's see, my favorite concert was probably Jazz in the Park last year, because I got to, well, number one, I got to perform there. That was great. But number two, there was some soul-stirring music going on, and thousands of people arrived and had the time of their life. And there was a lot of news coverage for it too. It was just a grand time. I was grateful to open up.
Who are some of Huntsville's most memorable or legendary artists?
I would have to say that one I really love is Brian McKnight and Take Six, for sure. Those are some songs that I remember singing back in the day 1,000 times. And you know, when I got here and found out that they actually were representing this town, I was like, oh, okay. So if that's in the water and it's gonna make me sing like that, all right. They're amazing.
I mean, there's Cosmic Mama, who is, you know, Carla Russell, been singing forever. Fifi Payne, who's been well known from around here for a while. And you've put me on the spot. I'm trying to think. But there's been some amazing people. Like I said, I mentioned the band PlayStation, who everybody loved, and they were kind of played a lot of the funk dance music, you know, like I do.
I'm told that there's so many great talents here in the Rocket City.
Yeah.
What do you think of, what's your take on that?
Oh gosh, I have too many to name. I love too many to even begin to start listing. You know how I went on about Charles Harris III. I don't want to start with all the rest of them, but they're right. They are right. There are so many great talents here. I never thought that I'd be surrounded by so many awesome local artists. You know, of course we look up to our celebrities and we see them on TV, but not realizing that some of these local artists here are even more talented than the records we've been buying over the years, you know. It's incredible to be there live and see it all happen in my face and become friends too.
Oh, wow. So during your professional career, have you ever had the opportunity to work with any big name acts?
Yeah, I've opened up for a few, including Missy Elliott, Patti LaBelle, Tevin Campbell, Sunshine Anderson, Troop, you know, things like that. And and I love, one of the songs that I was featured on is called Happily Ever After by an artist named Case. I think it was one of his biggest hits, so that's still playing quite a bit on the radio. And anybody need to sing it want me to sing it at their wedding, let me know. But also I was on Fat Joe's Loyalty album. It was called Turn Me On. Great song. Not his most popular album, but probably one of his best songs for sure.
What was that experience like for you?
Oh man, he was super humble. He seemed like a big brother, you know. One of the nicest artists that I've met so far. He took me under his wing. He taught me a lot about the studio and things like that. And he was great to work with. We knocked it out. I think I sang it twice and he was like, it's perfect. You're good. You can go. Okay. Easiest recording I ever did. It was fun.
I had the opportunity to sing on stage with a performer named Billy Allen, who I think he's from Florence, Alabama originally, but he plays all over in Huntsville too. But he got to come up on stage with me, and we did Proud Mary together. And he's an amazing artist too. I really love his music and his just his persona and how he performs and entertains people. So that was a special moment for me to kind of see someone who is going to and has become an artist on the rise.
And you say you guys performed together. Where was it?
Locally at the Holiday Inn, back when it had the indoor Hoppers was the club inside Holiday Inn. So that's where we performed together on stage.
Tell me, what was it like working with Rudy? I know he was a big hit around town. What was that experience like?
I mean, I think, like I said, we were together for a long time, singing together for a long time. I learned a lot of things to do and a lot of things not to do. But I think the main thing that I learned working with him was singing with emotion is the most important thing, and I try to put what he taught me with that into what I do. Is I feel like even if I touch one person in the audience and make them feel what they needed to feel that day, that's what the most important thing to do is on stage. So I try to connect and do that, and as I would say, learning that emotion, how to connect with people on stage emotionally through song has been amazing.
What has been your favorite Huntsville concert that you attended?
Let's see, favorite Huntsville concert. I'm always working, so I don't really get to go see very many. But I will say I went to Jazz in the Park last year, and the gentleman who played guitar, and I know you can help me with his name, and I feel terrible for not knowing. I was telling them earlier that I'm terrible with names, but that concert was amazing.
Was it John Stoddard?
I think so. He was on the last night last year. I can't remember.
Okay.
But that was one of my favorite.
Okay. So like back in the day, like old school music, if you went to a concert, what concert would you have attended?
What would I have attended? Any artist?
Yes.
Probably Chaka Khan.
Oh.
And love her. And, maybe Aretha as well. I guess I reached way back. Even some of the, of course, Earth, Wind, and Fire or something, and they're still performing. Came here last year. I was working, didn't get to go to the concert, but those are kind of that genre is what I enjoy.
Okay. Huntsville is investing a lot in developing the music scene here. How do you think it will pay off in the future?
I think it's going to be great. I was trying to mention earlier that in 2019, they did the Huntsville leaders did a music audit, and what they discovered, because music is our universal language, and they realized that by developing that, the music is going to bring up the economy. So here we are, a few years later. We've got so much going on, and places like the amphitheater have brought in tourism and have brought in new job opportunities, and it actually worked. Their plan to develop this musical, boost has boosted our economy all the way. It's really great. It's really great to see.
I feel like it is growing. I feel like we, people are focusing a little more on, their events. They want bands and they want, good music, and I really feel like things are starting to take off as far as the scope and the wide range and the places to play. Like I said, I wish we had a few more bigger venues where the bigger bands were a little more, could rotate through a little more. But I play out of town a lot because of that reason. I don't want to saturate myself here too much where, I'm the only large band playing.
I actually did get my start in the church. I was raised in the church in a non-denominational, and my mother was a real worshiper. She was the one that would wake up in the middle of the night and be hollering out to the Lord. And she wanted to make sure that I was raised in that environment as well. So, of course, with me singing, it was only natural, and with my love for the Lord, it was only natural for me to be on the praise team. Any chance I got, I was up there praising with them. And still to this day, praising with Bright Star Church. But yeah, the church is, it's in my heart, it's in my spirit, and I really feel like no matter what style of music I do, I'm always going to be, praising the Lord, because He gave me this voice. Thank you, Lord. I feel like neo soul is what's truly in my heart, but just like I talked about Huntsville's diversity, I'm pretty diverse as well. I feel like if I was asked to do country, I could do that. I actually do. If I was asked to do jazz, I can do that. You know, there's a lot of different styles that I'm in love with. But gospel and neo-soul are natural, the most natural.
So it sounds as though you do most of your work as a live performer. You also do some studio work though too, apparently, from what you said. So which do you prefer, live or studio?
I definitely prefer live music. You know, I need to feel that energy coming from the crowd. And you know, sometimes you never know what someone's gone through that day. They might show up to a show and have had the worst day ever. And it's really up to me to bring out whatever, you know, they've gone through, to release that. And music has the ability to do that. It's so powerful, it's so universal. So an audience member may be looking at me like, what's she gonna do? She needs to do something because this drink isn't working. And I feel like I have the magic sometimes to be able to make them leave with the biggest smile on their face when they never thought they were gonna have that day in particular. Live is it. The feeling of the instruments in your bones, you know, the vibration of the drums, the saxophone. It's a total different thing than recording in the studio. Recording is great because you can stack your vocals, do your own harmonies and things like that. But you're not gonna get that same feel as you do watching a live performance with a full band. Oh, it's getting me excited just thinking about it.
You have performed for as much as 4 months at a time on cruise ships. Tell us which one you prefer. Do you prefer 4 months on a cruise ship or 4 months on land, either in Huntsville or somewhere else on land?
Definitely prefer to be on land. I enjoyed the cruise ships a lot. It was fun. But I will say it makes you appreciate home for sure.
I am a full-time student and musician. I'm pursuing my bachelor's in human resources management right now, on the dean's list for the 2nd year in a row. Praise God. And I am doing music full-time as well. But the most full-time is being a mom, because that's 24 hours.
What's the biggest challenge of being a full-time musician?
Projection. I would say you're always pushing the train. And so that can get a little tiresome sometimes when you're pushing it and always having to think of the future, because if you don't plan now for 6 months in advance, by the time you get there, it's not going to be there. So that's probably definitely the hardest, is making sure that you always have things in line for down the road, and to having to be your own cheerleader, you know, to other people.
Just how I mentioned a few minutes ago, Huntsville, some venues can do better with paying their artists, since some have been paying the same thing since 2012. But other than that, because there are so many opportunities throughout the week to perform, if you get on your grind and you actually book all these shows that are available, you can make a full-time living without even having to work as a musician, full-time musician in this city. It's possible. It's doable.
What's the biggest benefit of being full-time musician? I
get to do what I love. You know, no questions asked. I get to do it the way I want to do it, and I love it, and it fulfills my soul, and has kind of created who I am.
So I base each set list on my audience, the venue that it's going to be. You know, I do pretty much know what I may be dealing with, what they're looking for in each venue, especially if I've been to that venue before. So certain nightclubs, if I have an R&B nightclub, I'm gonna make sure that I start off the show on a exciting high note, upbeat music. We're gonna break them over the head and get them excited, make them wanna dance from the first song. you kind of want to slow it down a little bit towards the middle of the first set. Do some sing-alongs towards the end of each set. You want to do some line dancing songs. Get them out of their seats, Everybody wants to get up and work as a team, especially line dancing really helps that too. But I always make sure as well that being a cover artist, I'm choosing that every single one of my songs is something memorable that was popular on the radio at one point or another, because I want my people to sing along with me. That could be one of the hardest parts about being a songwriter or independent artist writing your own music, because people are not as susceptible to listening if it's a song that they don't know. And that's sad, because there are a lot of amazing songwriters out here too. But as a cover band artist, it's a little easier to get people involved and get them excited, because they know all the songs I'm gonna sing. And as long as it's popular, it'll work, and they'll call you back. When I have a show in the evening, I'm always doing my homework first. Any assignments, I need to knock that out, because I know I'm gonna have a busy night that night. I go into my own rehearsal, just running through the lyrics over and over in my head, because sometimes, just anytime you're in front of an audience, you could have that little moment where you just forget everything. You never want that to happen. So even if I've sang the song 10 years in a row, I'm still gonna go over the lyrics. I do work out a little bit, because I want to make sure that my blood's pumping and I'm flowing, and and of course the beauty regimen takes a while. So that's going to be a 2-hour process before the show. I got to make sure I have the perfect outfits laid out. But other than that, I like to watch comedy shows to make myself happy before a show, and then I'm ready. Working out, do my makeup, hair, clothes, comedy, homework, food, then I'm ready.
Wow. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, do you have a website, or what's the best way?
Yeah, yes ma'am. I have Nina Marie on Facebook, and Nina_Marie_vocals on Instagram and YouTube. And the email is rhonda.blackwell@yahoo.com for bookings.
Hit us with a little indie Aubrey.
Skin so brown, lips so round, how can I be down? Oh, beautiful mahogany, you make me feel like a queen. You make me feel like a queen. Tell me what's that thing you do that makes me want to get next to you, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I actually love the camp just because it is such a melting pot of people. And that is my favorite thing to do, is to perform to a wide variety of people from all over. So I think it's become one of those places that it's comfortable. People come to actually listen. They dance too, but they are listening and appreciative. And that's become one of my favorite places. I love Huntsville. I didn't grow up here, but I came here when I was 19 years old, and it has loved on me. And so I think being a part of watching it grow, and having memories here, and having people who still come to see me after 20, 30 years of me being here. They're a little older now, so am I. But it always warms my heart to know that I have affected people for that long through music. You ain't got no kind of feeling inside. Tell me something good.
Like and subscribe to Hello Huntsville today on all your favorite podcast platforms. Sponsored by the Cynthia Jordan Real Estate Group, Jeff the Mortgage Guy, and Tony with T-Mail in the Morning Show.